Hello, folks. Welcome to Underlords Universe. Today we are having a brief discussion, my brother and I, Brent right there. We're having a brief discussion of the brand new Megadeth album. We're lifelong Megadeth fans, and we both got the album. We got the Target Special Edition, which has an extra bonus track, a song called Bloodlust. And I've listened to it a few times. I know he's listened to it a few times, and I'd like to know what he thinks of it. So that's why we are zooming in here today. And we're going to invite you, if you are a Megadeth fan, to offer your own thoughts on the brand new and presumably final Megadeth album, self-titled Megadeth. And yeah, you know, that's what's bringing us here together today. So if you're new to our channel, we do this because we like to invite people along for the ride to discuss the stuff that keeps us doing our own thing. And we are part of a creative thing called Underlords of the Overworld, and we'll mention that briefly at the very end of this in case you are interested. And if you're not, that's cool too. It's fine. It's fine. Maybe you're only here for Megadeth, and that's fine. It's all fine, man. Okay.
All good.
It's all good. The question is this all good? That's the question. I don't know. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Brett, I'm going to ask you, you know, while everybody out there is following along and liking and subscribing, I'm going to ask you, what's your just overall general impression of the brand new Megadeth album? Like, what was your first impression of it overall? I'd like to do first impressions. And then what I'd like to do is just hit, like, what are your high points? I'll mention some of my high points. You tell me some of your low points, if there are any, and I'll tell you some of mine. And then we'll do kind of a wrap-up. So how about that?
That's really good.
Sweet. All right. Okay. So first impressions. What do you think?
Well, my first impression was not related to the music, but the visual. You know, we got a peek at what the album cover was going to be way back. I thought that was cool. That's a pretty cool cover. Self-titled record. You know, like you said, supposed to be the last record. I guess we'll see. Dave said it's the last record. The first single, Tipping Point, came out. It's okay. There was nothing about Tipping Point that like really grabbed me by the throat. There was no riff, no solo, no vocal melody that jumped out at me as there have been in previous Megadeth records. So my first impression was, okay, this is good. It's a good song. Nothing spectacular. Solid. And that was really all. I think I heard one other track. I think I streamed one other track because they were releasing, you know what, some songs and song titles incrementally. And I tried not to listen to the record or to many of the songs until I could actually get the record. So I didn't really do much exploring until it actually came out. And then I didn't get it until I got a copy like a week after it came out.
And I like to do that too because I don't want any songs that are pre-released as singles. I don't want those to be so in my mind, you know, because it may not be representative of an entire record. And it's like I want to hear the whole album fresh. I don't want to hear, you know, 60% of the album totally fresh and have 40% of the album like be really familiar with. That's, to me, that's not a new album experience. So I did the same thing, kind of avoided tracks.
Yeah, I want to listen to it as the proper album, and also I avoided watching people comment on it. I didn't listen to any reviews or watch anybody talk about it until I'd actually had a chance to check it out myself. And of course, you and I also went to the movie, which was the first time I actually heard the songs in order on the record. So my first experience with that was at the movie, but I've listened to it a few times at home all the way through. My initial impression really didn't change much, having listened to the full record. I think it's a little bit underwhelming. Now I have gone back and seen some people comment on it, and they say that it's really good. Maybe it's an upper tier Megadeth record. For me, there's no real track or moment that jumps out at me as being fantastic, like there are in a lot of Megadeth records. And it may come in time, I don't know. But right now, this is kind of sitting as a bit of an underwhelming album.
Okay.
There are things on the record that I don't like, and I can't say that about a lot of Megadeth records or records in general of bands that I like.
Okay. So with that, having said that, we are planning to do, you've already rated and ranked all of them, so you actually know, at least right now, where this album falls in terms of
Mhm.
all 17 Megadeth records. I'm currently going back through all of them, and I'll find out. I don't know where this sits, but my gut tells me this is not an upper tier Megadeth record. In that, I kind of agree with you. Where it ultimately falls, I don't know.
Mhm.
Having said that, we're fans of Megadeth, so when we say, or at least I can't speak for you, but when I say it's maybe a little, my first impression is a little underwhelming.
Mhm.
That's not to say I dislike it or I hate it or anything like that, because
Right.
I mean, I really like Megadeth. So it's a matter of how does this stack up against other Megadeth. That's the
Right.
thing. And there's a huge catalog here, 17 albums. So, and that's also not to say that there aren't things on the album that I do actually really like. So, um, yeah, okay. So with that having said, I kind of agree. My first reaction is a little underwhelmed. How many times have you listened to it?
And counting the movie, I think four.
Okay, and I've probably listened to it 6 or 7 times. So, yeah, okay. Um, okay, highlights. What high points do you have? I know you have rated the record. I have too, using our rating system. So I do know what my high points are and low points. So let's go
Hmm.
through some high points.
Okay.
And we tend to rate things on a 5 point scale. So if you want to offer, like, if there's any, 4 or 5 point songs or whatever, you can do that too. But
Sure.
what are your high points?
So I would say Tipping Point actually would be a high point for me. I'm not going to get into the stars. We'll kind of get into that when we do the ratings
Okay,
of all the catalog.
fair
But
enough.
that would be a high point. I especially like the ending of the song, kind of the latter part of the song.
Hmm.
I like the riffage. So I think that was a good lead off single. Um, I like Obey the Call quite a bit. Um, I do like Hey God. Um,
Hmm.
and those would probably be my favorite tracks on the record as of right now. I will just say, as with most Megadeth records, or all Megadeth records, I just misspoke. The playing, the performance is great. All the Megadeth records, the latter day Megadeth records sound phenomenal. So
Hmm.
production is really on point here. The guitars sound great. The drums sound great. The playing is great. I just think that overall, and I know I'm straying a little bit from your question, but overall, it's kind of lacking in the riff department, which is crazy for a Megadeth record. So for me, those would be the high points. And I might like some of the songs for different reasons. I just think, at first glance, those three, Tipping Point, Hey God, Obey the Call, would probably be the three that I would point to as maybe the best tracks on the record, at least so far.
Okay. I'm gonna stray from my own question since you brought it up. Uh, I actually disagree with you a little bit on the production of the record, the sound and the
Okay.
mix of it. To me, especially having just listened to it recently in the context of the last few records, I mean, it's very, very close. It's very similar. I mean, it's produced and mixed by the same, you know, you know, Dave with his name is escaping me, but at any rate, it's the same, pairing with Dave.
Hmm.
I find the sound of this new Megadeth album to be a little clinical and stale, sterile, I should say, not stale, sterile and um, bright,
Old?
bright, and a
Right.
little abrasive in that sense. It's too sharp sounding to me. I think there's more warmth and roundness to the two previous albums compared to this one. And I'm kind of splitting hairs on that because they generally sound pretty similar,
Hmm.
but to my ear, it's just a little on the brittle side to me.
I can see that.
Um, Now, having said that, okay, back to the high points though. Okay, and we have some disagreements here. That's interesting. I
Oh,
do agree.
I'm sorry, I forgot to mention Puppet Parade.
Okay,
Puppet Parade is another high point for me. Sorry.
okay, no, okay. So you said Puppet Parade, Tipping Point, Hey God,
And Obey the Call.
and Obey the Call. Okay, so I'm gonna say Tipping Point is a high point. I think it's a good standard, solid Megadeth kind of track.
Hmm.
Um, I think that Let There Be Shred is actually one of the high points on the album. Now, I do think the lyric is completely stupid, but to me, the lyric is kind of a throwback to the kind of lyric that you might have heard. It's kind of like a hit the lights type
Yeah.
lyric. Um, and it's a little silly, but it doesn't really bother me. I do think that the riff, you mentioned the riffs, I think the main riff is absolutely killer in Let There Be
It's,
Shred. And it's
I
like
would agree.
it's like I mean, that's getting into that kind of riff stuff where it's like, yeah, I can't play like that. That kind of annoys me that I can't, I
No,
try sometimes,
actually,
but it's like,
yeah,
yeah,
actually, when I heard that, I'm like, that's sick.
yeah,
Yeah, you're
it's a pretty sick riff.
that's pretty sick riff.
Yeah.
I'll give you.
You mentioned Puppet Parade. I'm not going to say it's one of my highlights, but I will say, as far as a highlight goes, it may have the one of the best riffs on the entire record on Puppet
Middle
Parade. And it's
section,
not the main riff in the song,
middle
though.
section, the
It's
middle
the
section. Right?
yes, it's the
That's
middle
it.
section leading up into the guitar solo.
That's the best riff on the record, I think, in my opinion. Not to mention.
I either that or the main riff in Let There Be Shred, but my note actually says best riff on the album leading into the solo on Puppet Parade. Now, the song on the whole, though, isn't like my favorite song on the record, though, so I can't necessarily point to that as a high point. I think Made to Kill is a high point because to me it's very like Megadeth. It's got a lot of those kind
Yeah.
of changes. You know how like a lot of Megadeth songs end very differently than they start.
Mhm.
Um, the one thing about the song Made to Kill, it's like the part with like smoke and fire, choke the dawn. That seems a little meh to me. So it kind
Yeah.
of even the song on the whole I really quite like, but there are a few parts of it that kind of like, yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, those are I think those would be my high points that
Let me
put in
ask you a
notes.
question.
Yeah.
So the last note, which
hmm
if you don't, obviously there's Ride the Lightning, and we got the Target version with Bloodlust.
I was gonna say let's address the bonus tracks separately,
We
but
will.
you
Yeah.
but obviously the last note's not a bonus track, so
No. So the last note, and you and I, we did discuss this previously, and you said I think if I would have done it, the last note would have been the last song on the record because it's the last note.
yeah.
So what do you think of the last note? If it is the final
Well,
track or track that we
so
hear from
okay.
Meg,
Okay, let's cut this part of the discussion into two and we'll save part of it for later. The sequencing element and the bonus tracks, we'll come back to that. As far as the song, the last note, I actually think it's pretty good.
mhm,
I like it. Um, Depending on my mood, I might say that that's one of the higher points on the record.
mhm.
So, so yeah, I do like it. I think it works well as a composition, and I think the only thing I really want to say about the last note has more to do with its sequence and its relation to bonus tracks. So, um,
Do
yeah,
you okay? So it's got a little bit different guitar work in it. It's got some
Mhm.
light, more acoustic-y type stuff.
Yeah, and
And
that's
you
a
and I are,
Dave solo, by the way. Yeah.
and we're not necessarily. I think I can say this for you and me. We're not necessarily the biggest advocates for spoken word things. But what do you think
Well,
about the
I mean,
spoken word part? And it's obviously it's
so
appropriate kind of in this. What do
so
you think
yeah, I
about
mean, I think you're good for you know, I, I do like to speak for myself. So, with that, yes, generally speaking, I'm not a big fan of spoken word stuff in music. Dave and Megadeth, it's a little bit of a different thing. Um, for some reason, I think he pulls it off almost every time he does it. So it doesn't bother me at all.
Me
It's
too, and you make a really good point because a lot of his vocals throughout the years have been kind of like he'll stick
Mhm,
spoken word, like whether it's the raspy kind of the mean Dave voice where he's just talking a line or snarling a line,
mhm.
and obviously that's not what he's doing in this track. But I agree with you, and that's why I wanted to bring it up is
Yeah.
because it's appropriate also for the song. It works within the context of the song.
Yeah,
So
I agree. I agree with that. I agree with that. Now, is it like, do I absolutely love the song? Like, oh my God, I'm blown away by it? No. And that's frankly the case with most of the record.
right.
Even the stuff that's really, really good, kind of stick with this theme of high points. Even the stuff that's really, really good, it's kind of like, it's really good, but is it top tier Megadeth? I don't know. not really sure about that one. So
And when I listen to this record, I don't consciously say, okay, I'm going to compare this with the tracks I like most on The Sick, The Dying, and The Dead. I don't do that, and I don't know if you do either, but it's
no.
like they either stand on their own as really good songs, and maybe we raise the bar consciously or subconsciously because it's Megadeth and we love pretty much everything they do. But there are tiers to this, and we have expectations. And when when you hear something that comes out, like I remember when Dystopia came out, which is hard to believe it's been 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
There was some stuff on that record when immediately when it came out, I'm like, okay, this is really, really good top shelf stuff. I didn't get that vibe with this record. To go to your earlier point, I don't dislike the record. I do like it. And I'll listen to it again, but there's just something missing. And when I was listening to this too, you made a comment, I think you did earlier on this episode, about how Made to Kill is kind of a Megadeth-y song. Or just, some of these songs, they don't feel necessarily like they're Megadeth-y enough, if that makes any sense. It's like, is it, I don't know the reason for that, because Dave basically is Megadeth, but and maybe that's why I don't like some of the songs as much as I otherwise might normally, or that I want to. I mean, I want to love
it. Well, yeah, of course, an album comes out, you want to love it, but and I don't know how to respond to that. It's an interesting point. It's an interesting thought, because there are some tracks that are kind of very, quote, Megadeth-y, but on the other hand, there are songs throughout their history that are not quite as, quote unquote, Megadeth-y that I love as well. So that gets back to your point about you take a song and music for kind of what it is rather than for what it isn't, and it's hard to pinpoint why something resonates with you or not, and I think that's the perpetual problem with trying to express
well, and
why you like something or why you don't. So,
and I'm going to use an example here to kind of demonstrate that. Like, for example, I think Breadline is a 5-star phenomenal song, Risk. I like that better than anything off this record. But Breadline is not like a Megadeth
that's
song.
not very Megadeth-y. Yeah.
I just kind of contradicted myself, but that's how it works.
Well, that's part of the process of thinking through things sometimes, is through expressing the idea, expressing your reaction, kind of realizing, oh, maybe there's a contradiction in what I'm saying here, and but that's okay, that's fine, right? I mean, that's part of and that's why we're having the conversation. Otherwise, it would be just we listen to it and then.
Yeah, and I'm not normally a lyric guy. I think you and some of our other people that we work with and write music with, I'm more of a melody guy. I know, I think you tend, and some of our friends are more into the lyrics than I am. Mm-hmm. But there are some lyrics on this record that I think are just really, really bad. Mm-hmm. And in a couple instances,
that's a good okay.
Pull them down.
Well, that's a good segue into low points. So let's just address low points here, and then we'll draw a conclusion and wrap this up. Okay. What low points are there here? And are there low points? Are there low points on here that you actually just don't like? Because there's albums where it's like, okay, it's a low point, but I still like the song. Or are there low points here where you're like, yeah, I'd skip that, I don't like it?
Yeah. No, those are very good comments, and I agree. The other song that I heard before the record came out was I Don't Care. Mm-hmm. I do not like that song. I don't like anything about it. As a matter of fact, I'll disclose this. I did give it 1 star. I could have given it a 0.
Okay.
I think I know it's Megadeth kind of being punk, and I get that they have their punk influences. A good song is a good song. I don't care what style of music it is. In my view, this is just not a good song. I think lyrically it's ridiculous. That whole, whatever you want to call it, where he's kind of scatting the sheep and the this and the that. Yeah. That I hate that. I can't stand that. I really don't like that. I think musically it's boring. It's like these guys are capable of so much better than this. This is a very, very basic riff Um, I don't. The riff doesn't do anything for me lyrically. It's lame and kind of limp. I really don't like I Don't Care. That's like I said, I could have given it a 0 stars. I was generous giving it one.
Okay.
The other song that I actually don't like is Another Bad Day. There's no riff on
Hey.
that song. There's no riff on that song that to me is meaningful
Hmm.
or noteworthy. The lyric is phoned in. The chorus is like, what? Okay, another bad day over and over and over. That's the best you can do. I gave that 2 stars. I
Okay.
probably was generous. That song, in my view, is not really a song worthy on being on this record. Now, I'm glad that they did it. I'm not one of those people that say the record is going to be better if you take something off of it. I want all of it. I don't care how good or how bad it is. But
Well, you're a completist and you want to hear what they're doing.
yeah, but it's in the even within the context of this record, that song is not good. Let alone if you're going to try to okay, this is the same guy that wrote, and you can throw out any number of other songs that he's written, which are and obviously you can't you're not gonna bat 1,000. I mean, there are going to be some clunkers, but these two tracks, in my view, are really bad.
Well,
And then
it's like Les Claypool said, they can't all be zingers.
and they're not. And the one other thing I'll point to is I don't like the lyrics on "Let There Be Shred." The chorus is cringeworthy, and yeah, it's kind of a throwback to "Hit the Lights" 40
Hmm.
some years ago. I get it. Dave's in his mid 60s now. For me, the lyric just doesn't work. I don't even like the title of the song. If it were me, I would have come up with a different title. I would have come up with a different lyric.
Hmm.
Um, so I actually like the song, but I like it in spite of the lyrics.
Yeah.
The lyrics don't do anything for me. So those would be three things that I would point out as
Okay.
issues that I have that I have.
It's funny because we actually have a lot of similarity on this. Um, we both agree that the lyric on "Let There Be Shred" is dumb. The degree to which it detracts or pulls down the song is maybe somewhere where we disagree. But in terms of my other, because I don't consider that a low point. It's just okay. It's a stupid lyric. I
Yeah,
absolutely agree with you 100% on "I Don't Care." I I absolutely I don't care for that song
I don't
at
either.
all. And what you said about the chorus part,
Oh,
it's just annoying. I really don't like
yes.
that song at all. And I might actually disagree with you a little bit on. I think the album actually would be better if that was off. I just get rid of it.
Well, numerically, when you crunch the numbers, yeah, it would be because
Yeah.
it's 1 star.
So so yeah, and I'm we'll
Don't care. I'll save that for later.
yeah, we will right. Um, Another bad day. My first note was another bad song.
Okay. And we
I
didn't
mean,
discuss this before. We
it's
did not talk
no,
about this.
we did not discuss this prior. And if there's somebody else out there that's a big Megadeth fan and they love
Let us
those
know.
songs, cool. That's what tell us why. My other note says it's nothing special. It's just a song. It doesn't have musically anything in it that makes me say, yeah, that really there's the hook. There's no
Right.
hook in that song to me, melodically, rhythmically, or in terms of a riff. I will say this. There's one thing I will say about it, even though I didn't score the song very high. The guitar lines that blend throughout it, there's these little lead lines that have these harmonies that develop throughout it,
I I
and
agree.
and that's something where to me it's more noticeable when I listen to it on headphones. And I did
Hmm.
like that element of it, but that's to me that's like putting a good seasoning
Yeah.
on you know a bad meal.
No,
Um,
that's a good
so
call out because I totally forgot that. But you are correct. I would agree with that.
you mentioned "Hey God" as a high point for you.
Yeah.
I think the verses of "Hey God" are pretty good. The chorus loses me, so I actually put "Hey God" as a lower point as well. So that's we might disagree a little bit on that one. But just again, it's like I like the verses, I don't like the choruses. So
Mhm.
um, that's what I got for low points. Uh, can we just address the bonus track situation here for a moment?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think we should. It's very important.
So, okay. So first of all, if this is the last Megadeth record and the last song is the last note with a lyric that wraps up everything really, really well, why sequence the bonus tracks at the end? Their bonus tracks, for example, on Dystopia, like the Best Buy edition of Dystopia has bonus tracks. They're actually sequenced in the order of the, they're not at the end. And it's like there's no reason you can't do that because you have to have a mastered, you know, that you're operating off of anyway. So you just sequence the darn thing differently. If
Right.
Bloodlust is going to be like on the Target edition, and if there's something else out there or whatever, just sequence the thing differently because it just seems so bizarre to be like, this is the last note of the last song of my career. Oh, by the way, here's this other
Yeah.
new song. It's like that's so
Right.
stupid. What? Don't
Yeah.
do that. God, that just ticks me off.
Right.
Okay, second of all, and if people are if people might say, well, you're nitpicking, and most people don't listen to albums straight through, and who cares about all that? And it's like, well, I care about it, so.
Yeah. And I'm with you. It doesn't make any sense to me either.
Okay, now as far as the actual tracks as bonus tracks,
Mhm.
I don't. It's like fine. You want to do your version of Ride the Lightning? Fine, that's okay. Um, to me, it's like it's not immediately a matter of do I like the song or not because I love the song Ride the Lightning. So it's like I can't say I hate it. I like Dave's snarl. He's not a
Yeah.
good singer, but I think he sounds cool when he snarls. And it's
Yeah.
like, okay, so this to me, it's like, okay, this sounds like if Megadeth had done the song rather than Metallica, this is what it would have sounded like. Okay, there you go. So I don't hate it, and I don't. It's like fine, it's fine. It just seems pointless to me. Now, I know Dave has explained, here's why I did it, and da 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 da, all that kind of stuff. Fine. But it's like if you really felt compelled to do it, I would have released it as like a digital only thing prior to the record. I would not have put it on the album itself. Um, Now, people can disagree about that. Obviously, Dave disagrees about it, and I can, respect his opinion, just like I respect anybody else's opinion. But to me, it just seems kind of pointless.
Yeah. 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 I agree with everything you said. I like it. I don't think it was necessary. If you ask me to pick the Metallica version or this version, I'll go with the Metallica version. I think they did a good job with the song, but I don't really know what the point was, other
Yeah.
than what he said the point was.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I get it, I understand it. For him, it's kind of coming full circle. I
But
think what you said is a great idea. Just put it out there as an advanced single, a standalone. It's like
yeah.
this is I'm wrapping up my last record, but oh by the way, here's kind of where it started for me. I want you
Yeah.
guys to this. I did Ride the Lightning. I kind of put my own little twist on, even though it's very, very, it's pretty much it stays true to the original. So it's good, but why? And then the real
Yeah.
head scratcher is why is Bloodlust the last track on the record,
I
even
don't.
though
It's,
it's
it's
not
it.
the last note?
So one other thing I want to say about the Metallica Ride the Lightning thing is you'd have to kind of be oblivious at this point after all these years to not notice how often he talks about Metallica and having been
Mm-hmm.
in Metallica. And now some of people criticize him for that, and I'll say maybe a lot of that criticism is unfair because I'm sure he gets asked about it a lot. And when he's asked about
Mm-hmm.
something, he's going to talk about it. That's fine. And it is part of his history, and he has every right to talk about it and to be proud of the fact that he helped in the foundations of that band. That's great. I mean, we're Dave fans, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, you got to know you get criticized for that all the time, almost like oh, you can't let it go, you can't let it go, and I don't know whether he can let it go or not or whatever, what his opinion is on that and his feelings on it. But that's how it comes across sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it's almost like it's like, do you feel like you're in the shadow of Metallica and that you have to somehow, you know, assert your Metallica-ness there or something? I don't know. And it's like, I'm gonna be honest with you, on the whole, across the board, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Metallica. I do. As a matter of fact, last year I rated all those albums, and we could do a series on Metallica too. And
We need to.
I think Master of Puppets is arguably the greatest thrash metal album ever made by anybody, period, hands down. So, um, boy, I just kind of gave that one away. But I think on the whole, I like Megadeth better. I think I think Dave Mustaine is, and I was just talking to Matt about this the other day. I think Dave Mustaine, and he mentioned this, and I agree with him. I think Dave Mustaine is the best thrash metal composer, hands down, across the board, consistently, that has ever existed.
I would agree.
So it's like Dave, you got nothing to prove, man. Seriously,
No. I mean,
you
no.
know. And,
I
and
agree.
and in fairness, he might say, "I'm not trying to prove anything," and maybe he's not. But there's always that perception that that's the case, and I think this kind of feeds into that perception. So, what do you think of Bloodlust?
I like it. I think it's as good or better than anything on the proper album.
I
So I
agree.
would have just put it on the record. I
Yeah.
mean, I know you want. I know people do special versions of this. I mean, heck, we've even done it,
Well,
but
you
it's a little bit different. But yeah,
sometimes
but
you have to, right? Because of certain markets and the record
yeah,
labels, right, require. Well, you know what? Then put "I Don't Care" as a bonus track.
yeah. I mean, yeah,
That's
Bloodlust is clearly better than I Don't Care. I mean, I would argue, and we'll get into this, I'm sure, when we go through the catalog. I would argue that I Don't Care might be the all-time worst Megadeth song ever recorded.
well,
I,
well,
I I can't think of anything that's
yeah.
worse.
So
So
we've already beaten that horse. But to your point, though, it would work better
Bloodlust
as
is,
a bonus track.
yeah, but Bloodlust is good. I
Yeah, it's
mean,
a good song.
for
Yeah.
me, Bloodlust would be. I didn't mention it as a high point on the record because it's not on the proper album, but it would be if it were part of just the proper album. I would say Bloodlust is one of the best songs on the record. It
Yeah.
actually is, in my view, but it's a bonus track.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. So, okay. So there, yeah, I don't know. I got nothing else to say really, except I'm glad we have a new Megadeth record. I think it's good.
Yep.
I think it's across the board. With one or two exceptions there. I think it's a really listenable record.
Mhm.
I enjoy parts of it quite a lot. I'll spin it again. There are some points on it, like I don't care. Even the other low points, I'd keep them rolling. I'd listen. I wouldn't skip them. That's the only song I would actually skip. Um, but so I give it a thumbs up, but it's not like, "Rah!"
Yeah,
It's more like,
yeah.
yep, there you go. Good job, Dave.
I say
Oh,
this a little bit.
I got one more thing to say about it. I want one more thing to say. Also, woo, it is comparatively also quite a collaborative record compared to some other Megadeth records too. There's a lot of input from all the guys on it, and I think that's actually cool. I like when that happens. So
I do too. I do
okay,
too.
yeah,
The only thing I was going to say is that in summation, I would say, and I say this probably too often, it's solid. It's not spectacular. It's
yeah,
and where it ranks in the catalog of Megadeth albums. I mean, we'll divulge that when we go through all the records. But it's I'm obviously I'm glad that he's done it.
hmm
If it is the last record, I'm glad we got as much from him as we did because if you recall, 20 years ago,
yeah,
around the time the system has failed, he was talking about not being able to play
right.
because he's having problems with his hands. So here we are, 20 years later, and a bunch of albums afterwards, and we're still getting new Megadeth. So um, yeah, I'm glad it's out there, and we'd like to hear what other people think because our opinions are just that. They're just opinions. We speak for ourselves, but we like to hear different opinions. Or,
Yeah,
if you hear this, let us know.
yep.
If you love I Don't Care, I'd love to hear it. Tell me why I'm wrong.
Right. So, with that, like, subscribe, offer a Megadeth comment, blah, 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 blah. And, yeah, I mean, other than that, we're part of this thing. We write and record stuff, and there's always those folks out there that might be like, wow, these guys have the gall to criticize, you know, a really successful band like Megadeth, and it's like,
Yeah,
it's a critique. It's not a
yeah,
criticism. And oftentimes people rightly say stuff like, "Well, what can you do?" It's like, number one, I absolutely cannot write and play like these guys. No way. I mean, not in the ballpark. Not even in the league. I mean, not even on the same planet.
yeah, yeah.
But we do write and record stuff, and there's a lot of different kinds of music out there, and we're professionals in our own lives and stuff, and we do stuff on the side. It's a project called Underlords of the Overworld. It's kind of a weird thing. There's some instrumental music in there, and there's some stuff with vocals, and I'll put a link down below to Bandcamp, and you can spin through on Spotify. And there's kind of a fictional backstory that goes along with it. Our bass player writes under a pseudonym, H. Prescott Lemon, which is a nod to the old writer H.P. Lovecraft. So he's got like what we call the fictional universe within the Underlords kind of concept. And so I'll put some links down below if anybody wants to check out what we do. But other than that, that's our Megadeth discussion, folks. Feel free to join if you like. Anything else, Brent? Okay, until next time, toodles.